Welcome to this video on IP spoofing. After watching this video, you'll be able to describe IP spoofing, explain distributed denial of service, DDoS, summarize attacks through masking botnet devices, describe man-in-the-middle attacks, discuss defense mechanisms for IP spoofing. Consider this scenario. There are several client systems that send requests to a web server. The web server processes the request and sends a response back to the client system. But how does this communication happen? How does a web server know where to send the response? Network communication fundamentally relies on exchanging IP packets between two systems. IP packets form the backbone of Internet interactions. Every packet contains a header with routing data, including the source and the destination address. For example, when user 1 requests for the IBM.com website, the information is sent in a packet containing user 1's IP address and the web server's IP address. When the request reaches the web server, it will process the request and send the result, the content of www.ibm.com in this case, to user 1's IP address. Now, think of the situation where user 1 sends a request but edits the header to reflect user 3's IP address. Although sent from user 1, the packet now appears to have come from user 3 instead. This is an example of IP spoofing. IP spoofing involves manipulating packet headers to alter the source address, effectively concealing the true origin of the sender or pretending to be another host. Can a recipient stop the attacker by blocking emails from the forged address? Not really. The attacker can modify their location continuously. Similarly, any attempt to reply to the sender will be misdirected and will not reach the actual sender. IP spoofing is commonly employed by attackers to execute distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks, disrupting the service of a target or its network. DDoS attacks capitalize on spoofing to flood a target with excess traffic while concealing the attacker's identity to avoid countermeasures. The attacker continually alters the source IP address, which makes it difficult to intercept and filter the hostile packets. Consequently, IP spoofing poses significant challenges for law enforcement and cybersecurity teams in their pursuit to locate and apprehend the offenders. Next, let's review one of the most referenced instances of an IP spoofing attack. The target was GitHub, a prominent code hosting platform. The platform experienced a massive DDoS attack, considered at the time to be the largest on record. Attackers manipulated GitHub's IP address, orchestrating an assault so large that it temporarily crippled the service. In addition to DDoS, IP spoofing can be used for masking botnet devices and man-in-the-middle attacks. Let's briefly look at each of the attacks. A botnet refers to a collection of interconnected computers centrally controlled by one or more attackers. Each compromised computer runs a specialized bot program to perform malicious tasks on behalf of the attackers. The attackers use IP spoofing to shield the botnet's activities and assign fictitious IP addresses to each bot. IP spoofing complicates tracking down the attacker. The attacker can sustain the attack for an extended period, potentially increasing the damage inflicted. Next, let's look at the man-in-the-middle attack. In this type of attack, the strategy is to intercept the exchange between two systems, modify the packets, and then forward them undetected by the authentic communicator or recipient. Attackers can monitor the dialogue by forging an IP address and infiltrating private communication channels. Consequently, they can access sensitive data or redirect individuals to fraudulent websites. As the intrusion persists, cybercriminals collect extensive private information, which can be exploited or traded, rendering man-in-the-middle assaults potentially more profitable than other attack methods. We covered different types of attacks that use IP spoofing, but can IP spoofing be eliminated? No, it is impossible to eliminate IP spoofing. However, you can minimize the penetration of forged packets into a network. One technique used to prevent IP spoofing is ingress filtering. Ingress filtering is a type of packet filtering. It establishes a critical network security measure where traffic is inspected and managed at the point of entry to the network. The primary goal of ingress filtering is to allow only authentic and legitimate traffic through and block access to unauthorized or potentially harmful data packets. This protection ensures that only recognized and verified traffic can get through the network's perimeters, acting as a barrier against attackers trying to infiltrate the system. Ingress filtering scrutinizes incoming IP packets by inspecting their source IP headers. If the headers do not correlate with their expected origins or present any signs of tampering or anomalies, they are blocked. Egress filtering is another technique to protect your network from IP spoofing. Specific networks deploy egress filtering as an added layer of protection. Egress filtering scrutinizes outgoing IP packets, verifying that they possess authentic source headers to deter individuals inside the network from exporting spoofed packets as part of an offensive IP spoofing campaign. In this video, you learn that IP spoofing involves manipulating packet headers to alter the source address, effectively concealing the true origin of the sender or pretending to be another host. DDoS commonly employs IP spoofing and floods a target with excess traffic, disrupting services. A botnet refers to a collection of interconnected computers centrally controlled by one or more attackers. The man-in-the-middle strategy is to intercept the exchange between two systems, modify the packets, and then forward them undetected by the authentic communicator or recipient. IP spoofing poses challenges to law enforcement and cybersecurity teams. IP spoofing can be limited using the following techniques. Ingress filtering, which establishes a critical network security measure where traffic is inspected and managed at the point of entry to the network. Egress filtering, which specific networks deploy as an added layer of protection.